You're now listening to the Wandering Buffalo podcast with your hosts, Andrew Chang and Justin Godwin.
What's going on, Bills Mafia? Welcome into another episode of the Wandering Buffalo podcast, a show here on the Buffalo FAMBase network, the originators and founders of Bills Mafia. Now, I know last week we kind of took a break from our regularly scheduled, off-season program because we wanted to talk about the events at Tops, and this week we're going to get things back on schedule here. And I do want to say, just again, I am just blown away by the efforts of Western New York that came together to show support and support the east side of Buffalo through that tragic event. So pat yourself on the back if you were there, or just in general if you were supporting them. And even if you couldn't be there in spirit, if you were just following along, I think that just shows that you care. So good on you. Anyways, at that last week's episode, we were going to talk about Jerry Hughes signing with the Houston Texans and his tenure with the Buffalo Bills ending, and we'll quickly go over the NFL schedule. That's what we're going to do this week, and it might be a little late, but hey, better late than never. And it's just going to be me today because Justin is super busy. He's got family out of town, but it is what it is. You'll have to deal with me. I'm sorry. He'll be here next week. But before we get started, you can find us on most social media and podcasting platforms, and even on YouTube by searching up the Wandering Buffalo podcast. Make sure to check out the Buffalo FAMBase network as well, as we have other amazing shows, including live shows every night of this week. So definitely check them out. All right, let's talk about Jerry Hughes. He retires. I keep on saying he retires. I'm sorry. He is now part of the Houston Texans, and he leaves the Buffalo Bills, signs in free agency. And in a way, we all knew this was a strong possibility. Jerry Hughes' production has been slowly falling off, and Mario Addison kind of came in and already took the leads in terms of sacks. Now, I understand when it comes to being a defensive end, being a sack leader necessarily isn't the most important thing, but you do more as a defensive end. You create pressure, you set the edge, and you don't whiff on a huge tackle against Kyler Murray and let a huge Hail Murray happen. And I'm looking at you, Mario Addison. I have not forgotten about that, but it's okay. In any event, I do want to just take this moment to recognize Jerry Hughes' time here as a Buffalo Bill, because we got him for Calvin Shepard, who basically had a cup of coffee in the NFL, and I'm pretty sure he's the linebacker coach, or he's some type of positional coach for the Lions, I think. And Jerry Hughes is still playing football. That was an amazing trade. So, and he was part of that cold front when the Bills had a top 3 defense, and then, Rex and Ryan came in and just blew that up to kingdom come, unfortunately. But I do recognize the fact that Jerry Hughes was not only great on the field, but off the field, and he always seemed to turn it up when it comes to the playoffs. I'm thinking about that 3-sack game in Houston. He just wanted to turn it up for Houston. And I think him signing for the Texans gives him an opportunity to do that. It's good for him and his family. I support what he does, and I really truly wish him the best in the future. And I know that the rest of Bills Mafia is with me when I say thank you so much, Jerry Hughes, for all your contributions, everything you've done. You are the man. Okay, now let's talk about this Buffalo Bills schedule, okay? So we got preseason games, whatever, starts August 13th through the 26th, where we go to the Colts in week 1, the Colts come here in week 1, the Broncos come here in week 2, and then week 3, we go to the Carolina Panthers, Bank of America Stadium. Nothing really crazy to talk about there. It's just like, okay, preseason. But, it's funny because when preseason happens, everyone's like, oh, it's preseason, get rid of it. But, like, I promise you, by the time that August rolls around, you're going to be like, oh my God, preseason games here. Because it's like one step closer to us as content creators, podcast and listeners, and just in general fans, to really understand what the Bills want to do, or at least a little sneak preview to see if anyone's a little rusty, and to give us a little insight on who we think is going to be on the 53-man roster. Most of us as Bills Mafia will fall in love with some random person that they sign, or someone who always we think might make the team, and then they don't. And we're like, well, what the heck? What happened to Brandon Riley? All right, let's move into week 1. The Buffalo Bills open the NFL season on Thursday night, NBC, with the Los Angeles Rams. We will be in SoFi Stadium. That is a game. Now, I thought to myself, hey, there is a strong possibility this might happen, but I mean, I'll be lying to you if I didn't honestly tell you that I didn't think it was going to happen. I really didn't think it was going to happen. Thought they would do something different, but this just seems like a perfect storm because the Bills signed Von Miller in free agency, so they're probably playing to the narrative of like Von Miller returns back home to take on his former team, and Josh Allen gets redemption for the divisional round coin flip debacle. And what better way to prove their worth than to go against the Super Bowl defending champs and the Aaron Donald, Matt Stafford, LA Rams. And that's going to be a tough game. No doubt about it. That the more and more I think about it, it's going to be tough. Now, I'm not saying that the Bills can't win. I have every confidence that the Bills can win. I just always am a nervous person when I go into games. I'm just like, oh God, this could happen. Oh God, that could happen. And hey, we also do have a new play caller in the building in Ken Dorsey, but we don't know what he's going to do. But we have Josh Allen. It kind of reminds me of that flex tape meme where the water's kind of pouring out of like the weird cylindrical tub of water, and it's just like, uh-oh, your problems here, like LA Rams going to the LA Rams. New coordinator, big stage, and then you flex tape seal Josh Allen on there, like, we're good. So that will be on Thursday, September 8th. And then the Bills kind of get a nice break. We get a, 11-day break going into Monday Night Football, where we have our home opener against the Tennessee Titans. And, God, that is also going to be a tough game. Now, I really don't think... I think the Titans have severely miscalculated the fact that top-tier wide receiver talent grows on trees, because I wouldn't have traded away A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks, personally, just because you get a guy like Treylon Burks and hopes he becomes an A.J. Brown. And he might, and it might work out, but he also might not. And A.J. Brown's a damn good receiver, and we know what he did to us in the last 2 games. So he's pretty good, minus the holding call that didn't happen against Tre'Davious White, but whatever. I'm not going to point to that play and say that was the whole reason why the Bills lost. We had plenty of opportunities. But I will say that when it comes to the Tennessee Titans, I feel like this is a team that has been on a similar trajectory with the Bills, and we are trying our best every time we get them. Every time we play the Titans, it's always a really good game. So it's no surprise to me that we would get a Monday night game, let alone our home opener. So that's going to be a tough game for them to come into. But the main person you got to worry about that on that team is, of course, Derrick Henry. Let's move on to week 3. That'd be weird. And we'll have a rest disadvantage going into that. I believe, the 19th to the 25th. Yeah, we'll have 1 day short of a normal rest week. But that will be in Miami. Week 3, September 25th. That's going to be hot. Real, real hot. But I'm pretty sure that's been the narrative for the Bills for the last 2 seasons, where we had to play the Dolphins like week 2, week 3, or early on in the schedule where it's really hot, or there's thunderstorms where like the game had to have been delayed or something like that. I don't really know. And the Miami Dolphins have done a lot of good things in the offseason. Like a lot of really, really good things. They solidified the O-line. They got Tyreek Hill. They drafted, they had an okay draft, I guess. But in general, they had a really good offseason with the veteran signings in the draft. And it all really points to the fact that the Dolphins have done what the Bills did with Josh Allen when they got Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley and John Brown. It's like, no more excuses, bro. We have surrounded you with weapons to bring you up. And that's what they're doing with Tua Tagovailoa. You have the weapons now. You have a quarterback-friendly scheme in the Shanahan system. Are you going to fail? Are you going to flop on your face? Because if you do, then you're definitely not our guy. If Matt Mullen, or whatever his name was, the undrafted free agent quarterback that played sometimes for the 49ers, could do well in this system, you should be good in this system as a top 10 quarterback draft, or top 10 quarterback that was drafted. So, I think this is going to be a tough one. I have every confidence that the Bills will cook up something to stifle the Miami Dolphins and, again, Tua Tagovailoa, because they have always seemed to be able to do that. So we'll see what happens, but that team definitely presents some problems, specifically when it comes to the horizontal run game and just their speed, their pure speed at all positions. Moving on from there, we have, the 25th. To the 2nd, we have a regular 1 o'clock game against the Baltimore Ravens. Again, another challenging game. Although the Ravens had a real interesting kind of offseason. They traded away their number 1 receiver in Marquise Brown. Well, I guess, depending on who you ask, their number 1 wide receiver, Marquise Brown. And then they draft, and now they have like 3 or 4 tight ends in their system. So they're trying to recreate what they did when Lamar Jackson was the MVP and just destroy you over the middle, big boy you with those tight ends. And then, Lamar Jackson will do what Lamar Jackson does best and just kind of make you like fall out of your ankles or something and just spin you out and just really just run the football down your throat. So I think that the Bills did a good job of containing him in the playoffs. Now, this will be a definitely different and healthier team, and they had a really solid draft. Like, really, really solid. And it's so weird because when we talk about drafts, right, we think about, we fall in love with all these players in going into the draft, and we think like, oh, this person's going to be this, oh, this person's going to be that. And sometimes those players get drafted way higher, and we feel validation. We're like, yep, we knew it. This guy's the one. And then you see other players slide all the way down. You're like, why is this player not getting picked up? We should take him. And then you want the Bills or your team to take him, and then they don't. Which kind of tells you how the league views this player and why predicting where a player's going and their talent level is really hard. It really is. But I think that the Ravens had a really strong draft, and this is going to be a tough game, especially since they're going to be healthy. So we'll see how that one ends out. Week 5, we will be hosting the Mitchell Trubisky-led Pittsburgh Steelers. The big trouble with that team is that defensive front. Stephon Tuitt, TJ Watt, yeah, they're real good. And we saw what Cam Hayward did to John Feliciano. Too bad John Feliciano didn't bring enough attitude in that game because he got destroyed, and he wonders why he got benched. Well, that's why. If you couldn't hold yourself against Stefan or Cam Hayward, what would you have done against Chris Jones? Get punched in the head again? Sorry. I know. I heard him say that, and I was just like, dude, come on. Like, ain't nobody upset with you. You got upset because you got outplayed by an undrafted free agent and someone with 2 first names and Rick and Ryan Bates. Come on. Get over yourself. Anyways, so I don't know if it's going to be actually Mitchell Trubisky leading that team or if it's going to be, what's his name, Kenny Pickett, who got drafted late in the first round. So we'll see. Moving on to this 425 game, kind of interesting timing, but anyways, it technically will have a rest. I guess we'll have some time. We'll have more time from that week to this week as the game's at 425 and not at 1. But this will be at Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium. We know what it is. It's not a primetime game, but it will definitely be highlighted as such, saying like, uh-oh, who's going to stop Josh Allen and the Bills now? If it's not going to be a coin flip, it could be anything. And in some ways, this might be one of the most important games on the schedule because of the narrative, again, of who is the better quarterback. And if you follow me or us at the Wandering Buffalo podcast, then you definitely follow Bruce Nolan and his ideologies of wins are not a quarterback stat. And I completely agree. Like, dude, Josh Allen isn't on the field on defense. You can't really help him, or you can't really point to him like, oh, Josh Allen failed because he had a crazy, amazing output, but like our defense just couldn't stop him. Like, it's just not fair to him. In any event, this will be a really, really important game to watch, as I know for a fact it will have implications on seedings because I see the Bills and the Chiefs in the playoffs, and this will definitely determine who is ahead of the other, or definitely affect tiebreakers. And then week 7 we have a bye. We keep on getting these early buys. I don't like them, but I don't hate them at the same time. I just prefer the Bills to have a later round bye, like when we had it against the Cardinals, and then we just went on this game-ripping run. Like, we were just building momentum, stacking W's. And I feel like it's easier to do that once you have a second to reset later in the offseason, but it's harder, and you saw it last season, and in the fact that, like, hey, we were kind of inconsistent a little bit, and then out of nowhere after that Tampa Bay game in that second half, and I keep on pointing to that second half as the click, but you saw it. Like, we were just like going, stacking, building momentum, and then what stopped it was the fact that, hey, Josh Allen didn't get another chance with the ball, but it is what it is. Those were the rules, and I don't want to like beat a dead horse. So, let's move on. But before we do so, we're going to take a quick break. Make sure to stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Dick DeGroat, Bill's dad. Now back to the show.
Welcome back, everyone. We're going to wrap up this episode, but before we do so, you can find us on most social media and podcasting platforms, and even on YouTube by searching up the Wandering Buffalo podcast. Again, my name is Andrew Chang, and I am your host. You can find me on social media by searching up 2 Chains. Welcome back. So, we're going to break down the rest of the schedule. Again, shorter episode than usual, but hey, it is what it is. We're in the off season, and screw it. All right, so we're going to pick things up with Week 8, and it is Sunday Night Football against the Packers on Halloween. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the day before Halloween, but in any event, everyone's going to be like all dressed up for that. So Aaron Rodgers will come to Highmark Stadium. And if I'm not mistaken, the Packers have not won in that stadium, like, ever. So, let's hope that continues, because I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers tee off on us. And he's so good. He is very good, I will admit. But one thing that does annoy me about Aaron Rodgers is the fact that he's just a weird kind of guy. You don't talk to your family, and he just kind of comes off arrogant, throws his hands up when he doesn't get his ways. And in a way, I know this is me supposed to be talking about what I think will happen with the game, but I'm just so appreciative that Josh Allen is our quarterback and not Aaron Rodgers. Now, I understand Aaron Rodgers is a once-in-a-lifetime talent, but so is Josh Allen. And if, I had to pick one or the other, I'd just rather have the generally nicer person. So, you can take the Rodgers rate and take a hike. So, see you on Sunday Night Football, October 30th. And then a week after that, we're back to our nice 1 o'clock schedule, which I enjoy. And we will be hosting the New York Jets. Or no, I'm sorry, we will be going to the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium at 1 o'clock. That game should be good. I think that the Jets had a really, really strong draft. Stronger draft than the Ravens, personally. And I think that they had a really good offseason, too. So they're definitely trending in the right direction, and they'll definitely be way more competitive. And this time they won't have Mike White to lead their team in the first game. So who knows what the Jets will be cooking there. So only time will tell. Then exactly a week after that, we will be hosting the Minnesota Vikings at 1 p.m. And you know what? I'm seeing a lot more Fox games this year, and that's fine. But it's definitely going to throw me off when I go to, CBS. I'm like, wait, where are my Bills? What's going on? I guess there's I think last season where they're trying to share more AFC games with Fox or something like that. So just be mindful of that if you are planning on watching the games, if you're not attending, or depending on where you are, you might have to, I'm using air quotes here, find a way to watch it somehow for free and not pay for it, if you know what I'm saying. All right, let's move on to week 11. Another 7 days, another 1 p.m. game. We will be hosting the Cleveland Browns. We don't know if Deshaun Watson is going to be playing or not. He might get suspended for 6 weeks. He might get suspended for the whole year. He might not get suspended at all, and we might have to play him, which would kind of suck. Now, he's been away for the game for 2 years now, or 1 year, depending on how long his suspension will be. It might be 1 and some change, but there's no denying it. And I'm taking, just talking about Deshaun Watson as a pure football player. There's no denying that he is an excellent football player, and he is really good, very accurate, very smart, and can use his legs. It reminds you of Josh Allen. So he is a handful to deal with, and not to mention that backfield with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and D'Ernest Johnson. Who knows what we're going to do there. All right, and then from week 11, we go to week 12, and on Thanksgiving, we got a short week. Short week. We play the Detroit Lions in Detroit, of course, at their Super Bowl at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. That is a game that all of us are going to be watching. And unpopular opinion, I don't like Thanksgiving games. I don't like the Christmas games. At least for the Bills' perspective, I like watching those games, and I understand I can't have my cake and eat it too, but dang, I want to relax on my holidays and just watch football and not really care about what's going on too much. But when you put the Bills on there, I'm always a nervous wreck when the games are going on, when it's right before it happens. But when you do it on Thanksgiving, where I know everyone's watching, and I know the players and the coaching staff know that everyone knows they're watching too, it just builds this extra level of expectations, and you definitely don't want to lose on national television. It's just, especially on Thanksgiving, bruh, brutal. let's move on here to, let's see, our next game in Week 13 on, it will actually be exactly 1 week out. Thursday Night Football. We will be playing in Gillette Stadium against the Patriots. So, another primetime game, but this time it won't be Thanksgiving, but the Bills will have adequate rest. Sorry, I can't really say that word right now. Now, this game is actually on Prime Video, so be mindful of that. If you don't have Prime Video, I think there'll be some way you can watch it again, find a way. So, find a way. Or I think that they share it with Fox or something. I don't really know, but you should be able to find a way to watch that game, but just be mindful that it is on Prime Video. So there's that. And then Week 14, on December 11th, we get if I'm not mistaken here, we get a nice long break. Yes, we do. We get a nice long break. Let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10-game break to host the New York Jets. They come here in Orchard Park and Highmark Stadium. We know what I'm not going to really talk about the Jets too much just because I already did. So, but I think we'll see similar results just like in the first game. Now, Week 15. That is the game that kind of piques my interest. Now, again, it's with the Dolphins. We don't know when that game actually is, but we know that the Bills will be hosting. It will be a to-be-determined game. Now, that could be a real primetime game. It could be just like a regular, like 1 p.m. time. We'll see. I suspect that if the Dolphins are really doing well and then the Bills are doing well, and then it's like the division's on the line kind of narrative, that will be definitely flexed into a primetime game. So we'll see with that. Moving on to Week 16, it's a Saturday game, and that will be on December 24th, the day before Christmas. And I mean, it's the Bears. They're changing in terms of executive or GMs, and I think that Justin Fields is a really good quarterback. He's super accurate, but that organization itself is failing him, and I just want him to get a better chance because it's not fair to him. So that's all I gotta say. I do think that the Bills will beat them here, and I know I haven't said like, I think the Bills would win. I think the Bills will lose, but to be honest, it's just like I just have every bit of confidence that the Bills will beat the Bears. Now, I said that about the Jacksonville Jaguars last year, so we know how that feels or how that ended. So let's hope that I'm not wrong here this time. But we will be going to Soldier Field for that game. And then Week 17, we will be going to the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football. Whew. That's a nice game. That is a big game right there too. Because if the Bengals are real, then this will definitely have seeding implications as well. So big game there, big game. And then the last game, we will host the New England Patriots in Week 18. That's also a to be determined game. So. Same narrative as before with the Dolphins, but I think this will be a 1 o'clock game. I truly don't think that the Patriots will be that competitive this year. They definitely exceeded expectations. So if anything, they might be what they were last year, but I don't think they will be. I think that it's a much harder division. They won't be able to stack wins as much as they liked against the Dolphins and the Jets, and they barely beat us. So, and they needed quite literally a windstorm for that to happen, and it was the perfect storm for them. I'm not a huge believer of the Patriots this season, but you can't discount Bill Belichick. There's just something that he does. He does get the most juice for his lemons or whatever that euphemism said. But in any event, that's the schedule. that is the NFL schedule, and from a 30,000 foot view, kind of a more drier episode. I'm not really in tune with other teams, to be honest. I mean, I can tell you about some of their key players, but whatever. Like, I'm more of a react episode. If you want more of like that expertise kind of view, I wish Justin was here, because he definitely could break that down a little bit more for you. But in anyways, hey, thanks for listening, and that's going to do it for this podcast. Again, you can find me on most social media I'm sorry, I can't talk, apparently. You can find me on most social media by searching up Two Changs. You can find our podcast, The Wandering Buffalo Podcast, by searching up The Wandering Buffalo Podcast on most social media podcasting platforms, and even on YouTube. Thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Choose love, and go Bills.